What if every night, at exactly 3:03 a.m., something walked past your house, whistling a haunting tune you could never quite place? What if breaking one simple rule could unravel your life's luck in an instant? Welcome to my neighborhood, where a cheerful whistle hides a chilling secret, and one boy's curiosity changed everything. Stick around to hear a story that'll make you think twice before peeking out your window at night. Every night, rain or shine, something walks down our street, whistling a soft, eerie tune. You can only hear it from the living room or kitchen, and it always begins at precisely 3:03 a.m. The sound starts faint, drifting from the start of the lane near the old Carson place. We live in the middle of the street, so the whistling swells as it passes our house, then fades toward the cul-de-sac. When I was younger, my sister Nola and I would sneak into the kitchen to listen, hearts racing. Our parents didn't approve. If they caught us, we'd be in big trouble. But they were never too harsh, as long as we followed the one unbreakable rule: never look at the whistler. My neighborhood is special. I've lived here since I was 6, and now, at 13, I can see why it's a great place to grow up. The houses are cozy, the yards are big, and there's always a game of foursquare in the cul-de-sac or kids running from porch to porch in the summer. It's idyllic, almost too perfect. But there are two strange things about this place: the whistling every night and the uncanny luck that follows us like a shadow. The whistling never bothered me much. I can't even hear it from my bedroom. But my parents? They clam up when it comes up. My dad, a tall, calm man with an island accent from his childhood, gets twitchy when we mention the whistler. His eyes dart, his voice quickens, and he reminds us of the big rule: don't look outside when the whistler passes. We couldn't look even if we wanted to. Every window in our house has thick canvas shutters that latch at the bottom with tiny locks, like the ones on a diary. Dad locks them every night and keeps the key in his room. My mom's harder to read. Sometimes, I catch her sitting on our big red couch at 3:03 a.m., just listening. Not often, maybe once or twice a month, but she's there, still as stone, as the whistler's tune floats by. Da-da-da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum. It's cheerful, almost mocking in its lightness. The second odd thing: everyone here is lucky. Not jackpot lottery lucky, but the kind of lucky where good things just happen. A radio contest win, a surprise promotion, finding rare arrowheads in your backyard, small miracles pile up. The weather's always kind, crime's non-existent, and gardens bloom brighter than they should. My mom calls it a million little blessings. The biggest blessing was my sister, Nola. She was born sick, her lungs too weak to breathe on their own. We moved here to be near the hospital, where she lay tiny and fragile, hooked to machines. But the moment we settled in, Nola started getting better. The doctors were baffled, but we knew it was the luck of this place. That's why we stay, despite the whistling. Because for every small miracle, there's a price. Bad things happen if you break the rule and look for the whistler. When we moved in 7 years ago, the neighborhood's welcoming committee arrived with macaroni casserole, a gift basket, and a manila folder. They were warm, friendly, cooing over baby Nola, who'd just come home from the hospital. But when they asked to speak to my parents alone, I eavesdropped from my room. They described the neighborhood's charm, how it was too nice, almost unnatural. Then they explained the whistling, every night, 3:03 to 3:05 a.m., soft and harmless, as long as you didn't look. They stressed this, their voices low and serious. Those who looked faced a black cloud, misfortune that could ruin lives. The manila folder held proof: newspaper clippings of car crashes, bankruptcies, freak accidents, and worse. Not everyone dies, the committee leader said. But those who survive, the light goes out of them. They're never the same. My mom thought it was a prank, even accused them of targeting us because of my dad's island roots. But Dad, raised on his grandmother's tales of strange things that walk among us, believed them. That night, he bought canvas shutters, latches, and locks, installing them on every window. At 3:03 a.m., he sat on the couch with baby Nola, waiting. I joined him, and we heard it, da-da-da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum. It came and went, just as promised. We've lived here ever since, basking in our blessings, careful never to look. Nola's grown strong and clever, and Dad even joined the welcoming committee, warning new neighbors with the same casserole, basket, and folder. Most listen. Some don't. Last month, a new family moved in next door after Ms. Maddie, the previous owner, passed at 105. They seemed nice, believed the committee, and installed locking shutters for their young son, Holden. Everything was fine, until they left town for a night and sent Holden, 12, to stay with us. The moment his parents left, Holden started asking questions. "Do you know who's whistling out there every night?" Nola and I exchanged a glance. "We don't talk about that," I said. "I bet it's that creepy guy in the yellow house," Holden said, "Mr. Tolles." "No way, he's nice," Nola replied. "Probably a psycho killer." Then, Holden teased, making Nola tense. I changed the subject, and we spent the evening playing Nintendo and watching movies. But Holden was restless. After my parents locked the shutters and went to bed, he stood up, eyes glinting. "Have you ever tried looking? It's almost time." It was nearly 3 a.m. I sighed. "We don't. My dad locks our blinds and hides the key," Holden cut in. "But your dad doesn't." "I saw his keychain on his nightstand when I went to the bathroom. I borrowed the key." Nola and I stared, horrified. He grinned, holding up a small key. "You're lying," I said, but my stomach dropped. I'd noticed Dad stopped hiding the key years ago, trusting we'd never break the rule. "Check if you want," Holden said. I told them to stay put and crept to my parents' room. I hesitated, then opened the door a crack. It was too dark to see, but as I stepped inside, the whistling started, clearer than ever. My parents must hear it every night, a secret they never shared. Soft noises from the living room snapped me back. "Nola!" I yelled, sprinting out. Holden was at the front window by the door, fumbling with the lock. Nola stood beside him, scared but curious. I heard a click. He had the key. The whistling was right outside. Time slowed. I lunged, wrapping my arms around Nola, turning her away from the window, and squeezed my eyes shut. I heard the blinds snap open. The whistling stopped. Nola trembled in my arms. "Don't look," I whispered. She nodded into my shoulder. I reached out, brushing Holden's arm. He was shaking worse than Nola. "Holden." Silence. Eyes still closed, I groped for the blind string. The window was ice cold, then warmed under my fingers, humming faintly. I yanked the blind shut and opened my eyes. In the dim kitchen light, Holden stood pale, staring at the closed window. "Holden." I asked again. He turned and screamed, a raw, terrified sound. Blood trickled from his bitten lip, and he'd wet himself. Lights flicked on. My parents rushed in, baseball bats in hand. "What happened?" Dad asked. He looked. I said. Dad's face twisted with fear, a parent's fear, raw and ancient. "Just Holden," he mouthed. I nodded. Relief flashed across his face, quickly replaced by guilt. Then, a knock at the door. We froze. Holden whimpered. "Don't answer it," Mom said, gripping her bat. She'd always seemed skeptical, but not tonight. Thud, thud, thud. "Louder now, please don't open it," Holden whispered. "We won't," Dad promised, hugging him. The knocking grew frantic, then softened to a polite tap, tap, tap. "Police," a voice said, mimicking Mom perfectly. "Call the police." Tap, tap, tap. "Police. Police. Police." Mom pulled us close. "Please stop," she whispered. The knocking bounced between the front and back doors, then hammered every window and wall, like the house was under siege. "Stop." Holden yelled. The noise died. "I won't tell," Holden sobbed, staring at the door. "I promise I won't tell what I saw. Just go away." We waited. A soft tap, tap, tap started at the window Holden had opened. It continued all night, relentless, as we huddled in the living room. Mom tried moving us to my room, but the knocking roared back, shaking the doors. We returned to the living room, and it stopped, except for the windows tapping. At 7 a.m., as sunlight crept in, the tapping ceased. Dad checked the house, making us stay in their room. "It's done," he said. Holden's parents returned at noon. My parents took him home and stayed for a long talk. Nola clung to me all day, holding my hand. When my parents returned, they were grim and silent. That night, we all slept in my room, Nola and Mom on the bed, Dad in a chair. No knocking came. By Thursday, a moving truck was at Holden's house. Nola and I watched them pack, their faces pale, eyes empty. They were gone by sunset. The welcoming committee was right. Those who look don't always die, but their light fades, replaced by a million little tragedies. I think Holden's parents looked, maybe to comfort him, maybe to share his burden. I'm glad I'll never know if I'd have done the same for Nola. We still live here, in this lucky neighborhood. The Whistler still passes at 3:03 a.m., cheerful and chilling. The blessings are too good to leave, but we're careful. No more sleepovers. Dad hides the key now, and I don't go looking. Some things are better left unseen. What if a single phone call could erase your entire life, your family, your memories, your very identity? Imagine finding a mysterious poster promising happiness, sold in glass jars, and deciding, on a whim, to call the number. That's exactly what I did, and what happened next turned my world upside down. Stick around for a story that'll make you question what happiness really costs. Hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-bending tales on my channel. The poster caught my eye on my walk home from another soul-draining day at work. Stapled to a weathered telephone pole, it read, "Happiness. Sold in glass jars. Call today," with a phone number scrawled below. I snapped a quick photo, chuckling at the absurdity, planning to show my wife, Kelsey, later. But life got in the way: dinner, dishes, laundry, packing a snack for our daughter, Lily, tucking her into bed, and picking up her scattered toys. The usual nightly grind swallowed the thought of the poster. The next morning, I woke back to back with Kelsey. I always rose earlier for my job, so I slipped out quietly and headed to the office. Work was mind-numbing, updating expense reports, staring at spreadsheets for 9 hours, inputting numbers. That Friday, I finished early and, like many, decided to ditch the office ahead of schedule. On my walk home, I passed the same poster. Happiness. Sold in glass jars, it proclaimed, bold and bizarre. I don't know why, maybe boredom, maybe curiosity, but I dialed the number, expecting a prank or something shady. Maybe a voice would say, "I love you," and hang up, or it'd be a scam. It rang once. "Hello," a woman's voice answered, calm and friendly. Hi, I'm calling about your poster." The ad. "Oh, awesome," she said, unfazed. "When do you want to pick it up?" "Pick what up?" "The jar," she replied, as if it were obvious. "Oh, right. What exactly is it you're selling?" "Happiness. In a glass jar. Like the poster says. Glass keeps it best, more durable than, say, a plastic bag." I hesitated. I'd left work early without telling Kelsey, so I had time. "Okay. Should we meet somewhere?" "For sure. I don't want you to be a creep or anything, so let's pick a public place." We settled on a Starbucks parking lot a mile away. I wasn't expecting actual happiness, more likely drugs, maybe heroin labeled as happiness. What if she's a cop? I thought, half laughing, half worried. But something urged me to keep walking. I texted her when I arrived, "I'm here, cool. Be there in a sec." "Silver Camry," she replied. A car pulled in, and a young woman, mid-20s, curly golden hair, pale skin, dressed in all black, stepped out. She looked like a good witch in a villain's wardrobe. "Nice day out," she said, smiling. "Yeah, hadn't noticed," I admitted, distracted. "You called about the jar, right?" "Yeah, that's me. Here you go." She handed me a tiny mason jar, barely 2 inches tall. Inside glowed a light, not a bulb, just light, like bottled sunshine or a miniature universe. It shimmered even in the afternoon sun, captivating, otherworldly. I stared, jaw slack. "Pretty rad, isn't it?" she said. What is it?" "Happiness. In a glass jar." "You've asked that, like, 3 times now. What do I do with it?" "Keep it," she said simply. "Text me if you have issues." She started to leave. "Wait." I called. "How much is it?" "Don't worry, man," she said with a cryptic smile. "You'll pay." She drove off, leaving me holding the glowing jar. Its light pulsed faintly through my pocket as I walked home. The sky, clear moments ago, darkened with sudden clouds. Rain poured, unforecasted, catching me off guard. I jogged to my apartment building, soaked. At my door, I reached for my key. Gone. "Not again," I groaned. I knocked, calling, "Hey, babe, it's me." Lost my key. The door opened, revealing a heavy-set man with greasy hair and a messy goatee. "Wrong door, bud," he said, chuckling. I glanced at the apartment number, 33. My apartment. I'd lived there 5 years. But inside, the furniture was wrong, the walls a different color. My head spun. Had I been drugged? I pulled out my phone to call Kelsey, needing her to ground me. Her contact was gone. No messages, no calls, no photos, my phone was a blank slate. I tried to recall her number, but it slipped away like sand. I knew I had a wife, a daughter, didn't I? Desperate, I took the bus to my office, where my contacts were backed up. But my keycard was missing from my wallet. I buzzed the intercom. Hey, it's Tim. Lost my card. My employee number is, I blanked, Tim. You cut out. What's your number? I can't remember. Fine, just give me your name and department. Tim Brooks. Finance. A pause. We don't have a Tim Brooks working here. Got an appointment. I stumbled back, nearly falling. I'd been in that office hours ago. My hands felt foreign, my reality unraveling. Was I even me? My phone buzzed. It was her. Hey. How's it going? Fury surged. What the hell did you do to me? The worst is yet to come. I yanked the jar from my pocket. Its glow was unchanged, mocking me. What the fuck did you do? I shouted, drawing stares, staring into the jar. A chilling realization hit. I couldn't picture Kelsey's face. Her name, was it Kelsey? Or Casey? I knew I had a wife, a daughter, or was it a son? No faces, no memories. Our first date, our wedding, Lily's laugh, gone. I was unraveling, my life erased, the rain stung my face, the wind biting. I couldn't remember my parents, my childhood, my friends. Why was I here, soaked and lost? The jar was my only anchor, the sole memory I could grasp, that girl handing it to me, calling it happiness. It wasn't. It was despair. My phone buzzed. Break the jar, Tim. The jar glowed brighter, outshining the streetlights in the rainy dusk. I didn't break it to obey her. I broke it because I was furious, broken, desperate. I raised it high and smashed it on the concrete. A shockwave of warmth erupted, the dark rain scattering like a parted sea. The jar's golden light spilled across the ground, surging into the sky like the birth of a star. I was engulfed, plummeting through radiance, warm as a winter fire. Then I blinked. I was in bed, sheets soft beneath me, my back brushing Kelsey's. Morning light streamed through the window, warming my face. My phone sat on the nightstand. One text, let me know if you ever need another jar. I called in sick, crept into Lily's room, and kissed her forehead. No preschool today, kiddo. Family day. She yawned, smiled, and drifted back to sleep. I slid back into bed, wrapping my arms around Kelsey, holding her tight. Hours later, Lily woke us, bouncing on the bed, giggling. Yesterday, I might have been annoyed. Yesterday, everything felt dull, repetitive, empty, but not today. I pulled Lily under the covers between us, her laughter filling the room. Today was going to be a good day. Today, I was happy. It began on a solitary walk through the woods. The entity came for me, not as a blur, but as an absence of meaning. Where it lurked, trees vanished. Where it crept closer, grass dissolved. As it leapt, no breeze stirred. There was no air at all when it struck. Invisible claws pierced something deep, somewhere I'd never felt before. My body seemed fine, no blood, but I knew I was wounded. Running home, I felt less, vague exhaustion, a foggy mind. A strong cup of coffee cleared it, and for a while, I thought I was fine. That same week, my life truly began. I met Mar, over the phone first, her voice sparking something in me before we even met in person. I fell hard, fast. But the entity wasn't done. It clung to me, its claws sunk into some unseen part of my being, fighting back against my newfound joy. The first signs were subtle. My neighbor's car changed from dark blue to black overnight. I stared, shook it off. 2 days later, my coworker Fred became Dan, and everyone insisted his name was always Dan. I brushed it off as my mistake. Then, absurdity struck. One moment, I was in my bathroom, mid-pee. The next, I was on a random street, pants down, in front of a dozen gawking bus stop strangers. Mortified, I yanked up my clothes and fled, heart pounding. The entity was still with me, twisting my reality, and I had no idea how to fight it. That evening, Mar showed up at my apartment, with her own key. Hey, I said, confused. How'd you get a key? She laughed. You're cute. You sure you're okay with this? She opened a door to a room full of moving boxes. I know living together is a big step, especially after only 3 months. 3 months. We'd met a week ago. But I'm no fool, I kept quiet. In my room, I checked the date and froze. The entity had stolen 3 months of my life. What was this thing? It wasn't just eating time, it was devouring pieces of my soul, robbing me of the spark of meeting Mar, our first dates, our inside jokes. Furious, I fought back. I avoided alcohol, chugged coffee, checked the date daily. For 3 years, I stayed vigilant, noticing only minor shifts, someone's job, the number of their kids, a street's layout, my favorite show's time slot. The entity's claws remained, a constant reminder of its grip. One day, I slipped. I got lost in the season finale of my favorite show, gripped by its story. A young boy shook my arm. Silly daddy, he laughed, smiling brightly. My heart sank. He was too, my son. The entity had stolen years, including his birth, the start of my family with March. The pain was crushing. Holding him as snow fell outside, I wondered, what kind of life was this, where a moment's distraction could cost me everything? The church offered no help, dismissing it as a health issue. Doctors found nothing on scans but happily took my money. Desperate, I planned to tell March. What was life like for her when I wasn't there? Did I still take our son to school, do my job? She seemed unaware, but I felt something vital was missing. That night, I set up a romantic dinner to confess. But when Mar arrived, she knocked, wearing a dress for our second date, a fancy dinner already, she teased, delighted. I bit my tongue. Through careful questions, I confirmed it, this was our second date. The entity wasn't just eating time, it was shattering my soul, forcing me to live life out of order. But I wasn't absent, I was always there, just not in sequence. 4 years, I adapted. Major jumps happened every few months, new places, new times. I learned to listen, to map the moment before acting. In my farthest leap, I met my 6-year-old grandson, who wanted to be a writer. I told him it was a fine dream. Later, back in month 2 with Mar, I savored a perfect night by the riverfront, asking her to move in, knowing our future. When she marveled at my love, saying it felt like I'd known her forever, I laughed freely for the first time since the attack. But the entity wasn't gone. It burrowed deeper, fracturing my psyche further. Jumps grew frequent, weeks, then days, then hours. I feared a future where I'd leap every heartbeat, forever lost, unable to connect or love. One day, watching snow fall, a constant that grounded me, a teenager touched my arm. Grandpa. Startled, I blurted, "Who are you?" He grinned, unsure if I was joking, and handed me a manuscript. My first novel. Will you read it? My grandson, the writer. I found reading glasses and dove in, ignoring the bustle of family, my adult son, his wife, relatives sledding outside. The story was a horror tale, flawed but structured well. It's terrible, I told him honestly, but for the right reasons. You're young, but the bones are solid. I paused. You like horror? Know anything about strange creatures? Hesitant, I confided in him about the entity, my fragmented life. He took it seriously. You're not joking. No, I'll look into it, he said, resolute. Write down everything, dates, places, details. We'll map your psychic wound. Leave the notes somewhere safe, like under the stairs. Hope flickered. But then he returned with a box stuffed with papers. Holy crap, he exclaimed. There are 50 boxes like this under there. You wrote them, or will? I stared, stunned. Don't let me see them. It'd mess things up. He nodded, voice grave. Deciphering these will take years, but I'll save you, Grandpa. I don't think anyone else can. Tears streamed down my face. I hadn't realized how alone I'd felt until someone believed me. Time blurred. I wrote obsessively, documenting every jump, stuffing boxes under the stairs, out of order, my first box the 30th, my last the 1st. As shifts became minutes, I stopped looking, overwhelmed by the chaos of changing names, places, realities. Then, I was old, frail, watching snow fall. A man, my grandson, now 30, entered. I figured it out. You're him. I croaked, yes. He led me to a room with strange equipment, seating me in a rubber chair before a massive mirror. The pattern emerged. How long did it take? I asked, horrified. Did you miss your life like I'm missing mine? It'll be worth it, he said, stone cold. He positioned metal rods near my arm. Look in the mirror. This shock is calibrated. A zap revealed it, a leech-like parasite, its mouth clamped around my head, body burrowing into my soul. Its 6 clawed limbs clung tight, it's feeding on your mind, he said. A lesser spawn of Esset, it eats your consciousness, unraveling reality's web, names, colors, times. What's Esset? He paled. You're lucky not to know. He wired electrodes to my body, a crown-like device aligning with the parasite's mouth. This'll make you unappetizing to it, but it's like electroshock therapy. It'll hurt. Is Mar here? His face softened. No. Not for years. I knew from his tone she was gone. I don't want to live in a time without her. Do it. The switch clicked. At first, it felt mild. Then, agony erupted, every nerve ablaze. In the mirror, the parasite writhed, its claws slashing to hold on. Memories flared, Mar's smile by a fire, snow falling, holding her hand at our son's birth, then, her in a hospital bed, dying. I screamed, reliving the joy and pain I'd missed, my life's fragments stitching together. The pain peaked, white-hot, and the world dissolved. Stood in the woods, young again, the entity approaching, a void of meaning. But this time, it hissed and turned away. My grandson had done it. He'd made me toxic to the parasite. I stumbled home, dazed. The phone rang. I knew it was Mar, calling for the first time, a pretext she'd later admit was just to hear my voice. Her death loomed in my memory, a distant pain. But so did her smile, our life, our love. Thanks to my grandson, I had my memories, every joy, every sorrow. I picked up the phone, smiling. Hey, who's this? I already knew. Author's note, my grandfather and I tried to write his story, but his Alzheimer's worsened, stealing his clarity. He's in a nursing home now, gazing at the snow he loves, not recognizing me. I like to think he's back in his youth, living those joyful moments with March. This tale is my attempt to finish what we started, piecing together his fragmented life.